Hello, and welcome to the Asylum, where we are still in this madness that is War of the Worlds. I'm Jeremiah, and with me, I have...
Don.
And we're talking War of the Worlds Annihilation, a movie that is so easy to find that I couldn't find another image available than the one behind me, which is the cover, which also took me a while to get for the cover. Even though this is a movie made for Tubi TV, and has a $22 million budget, which, as opposed to the original, had a $1 million, and this next wave had a $500,000 one. Weird that you couldn't find anything. This movie stars R.E. Thompson and supposedly William Baldwin, though I would not say it stars him.
I mean, he's recurring in it. It's not like how Danny DeVito is in Mars Attacks, right? Like, William Baldwin's actually a character who does things.
But as opposed to Rashad Freelove as Patlin, and like William Baldwin is in here as much as a later character Gwen, or like yeah,
more than Gwen. But yes.
But so this movie, I'll find it. Okay, here's something that's funny. On IMDb, the plot description, this is the IMDb one, says, in the wake of a punishing alien invasion, the only hope for a mother and her son, hope a mother and her son have for survival lies in discovery of an unthinkable truth. Okay, that's the plot description there.
Which is not true, because them discovering this unthinkable truth has nothing to do with their ability to survive.
So that's the plot description that is on Tubi, okay? Now, here's the plot description that is everywhere else. Synopsis, and this is on the back of the movie, apparently. Synopsis: humans from another galaxy invade our Earth, finding perfect atmosphere and vegetation for them to survive. In the wake of punishing alien invasion, the only hope for a mother and her son have for survival lies in discovering the unthinkable truth. Unthinkable. So they cut off the first sentence, but like, yes, the twist is humans from another galaxy invade our Earth, even though they come from Earth to invade Earth in tripods.
Which, were there tripods?
And they were trained to... It's pause right here for station identification. Yeah, there's really nothing to identify. But they come to identify, to come here, but then they also say that they were trained the whole time to want to kill all humans. So like, it's almost like they created a time loop of humans in the past were trained to survive to kill these alien invaders when they come in and to show no mercy. And so when they travel back in time to kill them, they're ready to kill. I don't understand it. The logic does not make any sense.
Okay, so this movie makes no sense. Let's just start there.
No. And it is not a sequel to the other ones we saw at all.
Yeah. So, shocker to all of us, this is not a sequel to the first two movies. It has nothing to do with H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds or War of the Worlds 2, The Next Wave. This is its own separate thing.
But it does look significantly better than any of them.
It does. Which at first I thought that like maybe this was like when it starts, I was like, oh, maybe this is like, decades later and we've recovered. Or maybe it's like what's going on in the rest of the world during the first one. Neither of those is what this movie is. I was excited about it. It was neither of those things. I was disappointed.
But so what can I say about this movie? It definitely looks a lot prettier.
Oh yeah,
they have actual costumes.
I loved the mech suits, even though they made no sense.
Oh yeah, these are like James Cameron style mechs. I like them.
They're awesome.
And the CGI for them actually looks good. I won't say great, but good.
It's still clearly CGI. Like you don't get to suspend your disbelief like you do in Marvel movies. but it's definitely good CGI. Like that's clearly where their budget went.
And it's filmed digitally. You can tell it's filmed digitally.
Yeah.
And
do something.
So
Tricks.
William Baldwin is there, and at near the very beginning, they talk about how there's like these things invading, and there's a fog. So they send this squad into the fog, and says a ton of our best officers are in this squad, one squad, and they send them into this fog without any like drone support. Or like, like when bomb squads, they don't just like walk in. They send a little robot, and they send these people in here, and there's a bunch of gunfire, and the fog just magically clears, and the squad's all dedicated to one person who's the husband of like the main character, who then sees a mech and shoots at it with like every weapon he has, which is an actual like okay logic. They used more bullets in the opening scene of this movie than I think they did in the other two combined from the entire armed forces of Jake Busey. And at least they used tactics. It was dumb. Like they always would send in some sort of drone, something with eyes first.
Yeah, you're not sending boots on the ground to investigate something like that. Like it's not how that works.
You don't go in blind.
No, absolutely not.
But then they get killed, and then the building that Baldwin is in gets hit by like I blinked and like something hit it. But then the main character goes to find her son, and it's like a movie of survival where it's her and her son trying to survive. I will say this is actually filmed by a real cinematographer. I'll dare call him a real one. I'm not gonna say a good one, but a real one because it looks like professionally done. It's not zoomed in on the faces. There are such things as wide shots and close-up shots, and the action is competently done. But I think that might just be because of the trauma we've gone through with the past couple. So having someone who's actually filmed things,
yeah, right,
helps. Like I'm gonna see what she's done. This is done by Michael Sue, who did Highway 66. No, that's what we're doing right now. Let's see. I'm gonna think of something that we've actually seen. Well, that's a Blood Rain fan film. I was about to say no.
The world's worst sex scene of all time.
Hey, that movie got 2 sequels.
Unfortunately true. Thank you,
This person's basically just done a whole ton of stuff I've not seen, but at least this film, like it's competently filmed.
Speaking of Blood Rain, I'm going to take this opportunity right now. Uwe Boll, calling you out. You, me, flagpole, 6:00. Let's do this.
Careful. He challenges critics to boxing matches and has beaten them. He is 18-0.
I'm in. Come on, Uwe. Come on.
He's 18.
Yeah.
It's Uwe.
Rage, bud.
It's Uwe Boll.
What you did to Jason Statham in Dungeon Siege, I can't forgive it. I'm sorry.
Oh man,
sorry.
Dungeon Siege is a movie we'll talk about someday. That is a Brown Arrow Uwe Boll movie for me. Brown Arrow. Ray Liotta is in that movie. Rest in peace, Ray Liotta. Ron Perlman, I don't really care about that one, but like John Rhys Davies, Christina Loken is back in that one.
How did he convince?
And Jason Statham's called Farmer. Well, that movie that we're on a tangent, but that movie had like a $60 million budget.
Yeah, right. Like insane.
Remember, his whole thing about making movies is like the producers. You make more money with a flop than you do with a hit.
She puked on me, and I don't know where my rag went. Party
but
foul.
He makes more money with a flop than he does with a hit. That's what he does.
That's true, because he's German. He takes advantage of the German film law that's been around since Hitler.
But this movie, going back to this one, I will say there is no actor who is as bad as anything we've seen in the previous one. Everyone's at least up to, I'll say, Howell's level of acting in those movies. Yeah. Everyone's at least up to that. They're all competent. No one's great, but they're all competent.
They're all moderately believable.
Weaponry is competent. Like there's alien guns, which look cool. I don't know how they work because one of them fires once and then they can't figure out how to get them to work, and the other ones work. I don't know the scale of things because there's really not a lot of humans in this movie. They don't have a lot of extras. Anytime like there's one shot near the end, we're like, they're gonna show extras. Nope, zoom out, CGI. But I will
Yeah,
say the look and acting is at least not painful. Now
yeah,
the story, on the other hand,
is painful.
yeah, like when I said they have costumes, they do have costumes in actual military uniforms. The rank's all wrong. Like the ranking, like yeah, wrong. And they have beards, and like William Baldwin's hair is not up to code in any standard.
Glorious. He's a general. He's allowed to have his hair however he
He's a
wants.
journal with lieutenant bars.
True, but he's a
Also, for
general.
some reason, who was talking to the president? Did they just like ignore the president the entire time?
I guess so. Yeah.
Um, and like no armored vehicles ever go in at all.
Nope.
And
Just boots on ground, and then we
more
find
boots
out
on the
they have
ground.
decimated the entire world's forces. That's
And a lot
that's what
more
we
boots
got.
on the ground.
And then
Pretty
lots
much
more.
everyone who fights is a boot on the ground. Where's
Yes.
the tanks? The
No
howitzers?
idea. They take
The
out
nukes?
they they once again refer to things as tripods that are not tripods. Uh,
They're
they did
like
have mech suits.
ATSTs mixed with like James Cameron version from like Avatar, which is awesome. I'm you're never gonna see me hate mechs like that ever.
Yeah. No, no, no. I enjoyed the special effects in this movie. But yeah,
They
so
actually looked pretty good. There's none of that weird looping. They moved right. They felt almost correct.
almost
Um,
just
like
close enough.
yeah, they felt good enough.
So the movie follows essentially two different stories. It follows what was her name? Wellish's first name.
Oh yeah. Uh. Okay. I find it funny. That in the movie they call her as Wellish most of the time, but her name is Ashlea. Ashlea. They don't actually put her last name on IMDb.
Yeah. So her name is Ashlea. So it follows Ashlea and her son, Luke
Lucas.
Luke. His
Lucas.
name's not Lucas. His name is like Luke Holland,
They
and they
call him
call him
Lucas,
Luke, and then sometimes Lucas.
and
That's
her
not his
brother's
name.
named Patlin.
And then so it's Ashlea and Luke and Patlin. Patlin is her brother, who is a doctor, who is just kind of traveling randomly, trying to help people. And then her and her son, who are just kind of trying to get to safety because her husband, Jutta, died in the initial like investigation incursion or whatever. So her and Luke meet up with Tiago, who they just call T, and then
And he
they
is a very Latino man who does not look it in this movie. Like, did you try to make like a very like a guy who I've seen in lots of movies, including he's in Fast and Furious and stuff like that? He is usually like a he's Hector in the Fast and Furious, and he's in Training Day. He usually looks, and in Street Kings, Dragged Across Concrete, he usually looks like a gangbanger, and they made him look like a
cop.
white dude.
They made him look like a white cop
Yeah,
with
I don't know
with
why,
a Latinx accent.
but they meet up with him and they follow along to try to find best basic survival. The doctor is trying to survive as well, and he ends up taking down one of the mechs, and he finds out that the person inside has cleavage and human
Yeah,
skin and a
he's
heart necklace, and
he's
is surprised when it's a
surprised.
human face when he takes off the helmet.
Yeah, so he takes the helmet. It's very like he can see her leg wound, which she has a very nice leg, and it looked like she had a tattoo. Um, but she's got nice legs with a leg wound and possibly a tattoo, very clearly human skin. And then she has a heart necklace that pops out of her outfit when she's laying there. And then he takes the helmet off. And he's like, oh my gosh, when he finds out she's human, which is like, bruh, you're a doctor. Put the clues together, man. Put the clues.
And then he thinks he can hide her by having her walk around as a human, so the military won't get her. But she has like a barcode on her body,
Barcode
and she calls
tattoo.
herself Gwen, even though her name is like something really long and not Gwen.
Omega 001 Alpha Epsilon, blah blah blah.
And the military wants to they think she's a shape changer,
Which is why
and which
I'll accept.
makes and for some reason, so their main goal is to take down this mothership again,
Again,
which
always
Baldwin wants to like just kill everyone involved. because they found out there's a bunch of refugees on there. They take out this mothership with like a bunch of drones that just go up and like hit it.
Yeah,
Like
like
drones, like cheap drones. Not those aren't even military drones they use. They didn't even use military grade drones. They used the drones you could buy from Walmart
yes,
and set them up, hit this mothership, it goes down, and a bunch of like these rescue barges come out, which are full of civilians, and he's like, we're gonna kill all these people, and everyone else goes, no. Like I understand one of the officers doing it because Baldwin's clearly doesn't care because his hair is all wrong. Um, everyone else actually at least looked right, and they decide not to, and then all these humans get out, and these other humans go, and then it zooms out. That's
yes,
basically the summary of this movie. There's really not much here.
yeah.
Um,
It's
there's
like
none
a
of that weird stuff inside
strange.
tripods. None of this
It's
like don't touch the things. No one's getting absorbed, and there's no blood stuff. It's
it's
just
like
humans coming from the future with their future tech to try to take over Earth in the past because they destroyed their planet. But won't this create like a time continue? Like, I don't know.
so
I don't.
it's like Independence Day crossed with that episode of South Park with the Goobacks. Like that's what this movie is. It's like
And
that's
and
what
it
it is.
ends with apparently these people are not from future Earth. They look like they're from Mars now, and they all have like oxygen tanks and tubes to their nose because reasons. And then for some reason, William Baldwin has one of their ships that was clearly shot down and broken by his drones. So it's clearly not that good. And he's flying it himself, I think.
By
And he's
himself.
basically,
It's got
saying,
it's got a full bridge, like not the bridge from Battle Star Wars, like an
no, no, an
actual like
actually designed
full-blown
bridge.
20 seats bridge. It is just William Baldwin. He's going for it.
And he's going to destroy them for reason.
Yes, with his one ship.
But he went to, it sure looked like Mars, but I guess it's future Earth.
I think it's future Earth. So I'm fairly certain the plot is that like we as humanity mess up our planet.
Yep.
So eventually we discover time travel that requires us to
They
like
discovered Earth.
so we discover time travel that requires us to go into space to go back in time, right? So the government convinces the people that it's not past Earth, it's a different planet. And if they come here and they destroy all life on the planet, we can then regroup. So, which
And the
that
government
opens up,
looks like some sort of like something you'd see out of Iron Sky. You know, like some Nazis living on the moon.
yeah, which opens like a massive, time paradox. But whatever. Obviously, this movie doesn't care.
Hey, it ends on a cliffhanger. Ready for another one.
Yes, and World of Worlds, Annihilation 2, Electric Boogaloo.
So as far as this movie goes, I will say I was way more entertained with this movie than I was with the first two.
Oh yeah,
Probably because I was like, oh look, there's a budget. Nothing is
there's
like
mechs.
distractingly terrible. The
There's
mechs are really
mechs.
cool. Like the fighting is competent. Like there's actual like action where they tried.
Yeah.
Um,
This is
there
this is definitely of the three of the trilogy. This is the most watchable of them. This one has the most coherent plot. It's got the best acting and it's got the best special effects.
the worst acting is William Baldwin.
Surprising. What was it you told
No,
me,
it's not
Jeremiah?
surprisingly.
He's
He's the
he's
worst of the
clearly the
Baldwins.
worst Baldwin.
Yeah, he's the worst Baldwin.
Hear that one? We're calling you out too. You, Jeremiah, flagpole, 6 o'clock.
Bring money. Um, it's better than those ones. I wouldn't necessarily call it good, but it's definitely more interesting. But it is too long because it's almost 2 hours long. It didn't need to be.
It's a
Um,
it's a solid 20-25 minutes longer than New Wave was, which was unnecessary. They just kind of drew it out a little bit, then they didn't really have to.
So weird thing is this isn't shown on like the Asylum's list. Like if you go to like Wikipedia and so on, though it is definitely produced by the Asylum, but I think because Tubi TV gave them a lot more money, because this is way more money than an Asylum movie is done. But the guy who did this one is also the guy who did Avengers Grimm and so on, which I guess if he did this one, I at least have hope for those because they sound interesting in concept. Then of course so did that one with the Russian Avengers team with like the giant bear. as one of them. But as far as this one goes, this is not a sequel to War of the Worlds or The Next Wave. You do
No.
not have to watch them to do it. I'd say this movie is less War of the
As a ma-
Worlds and more Independence Day.
As a matter of fact, I would recommend that you don't watch them if
Yeah,
you're gonna watch this
don't.
movie.
As far as like if this is on TV, put it on. If it's on Tubi. Tubi has a lot of weird things. It's the design in this movie. I don't dislike any of the designs, which is saying a lot.
Yep, it
and
could
I
have.
think
So this movie could have done with a little bit more of a sensible ending,
and a plot that made sense,
and a plot that made a little bit more sense,
and not spoiling the twist in the description of the movie.
Yeah. Other than that, though, of the movies, this one's definitely the best. I would say it's definitely watchable. Definitely more watchable than the first one, which I gave a you should watch it if you get the chance. This one is definitely a you're in the mood to watch something that you can kind of like poke fun at, but you're still going to get some joy out of. Beatrix. This is definitely that. So Beatrix is living.
It's like they made a movie they wanted to make those mechs.
Beatrix is living up to her bib here. Says she's a little extra.
Got more vomit on it.
Yeah,
but it's like they wanted to make those mechs, and they said, "Well, we need to make a movie to go with it. Make it War of the Worlds." Okay,
yeah, right?
I think this was made as a mockbuster for the fact that we've had 2 War of the Worlds TV shows going on at the same time.
Yeah.
Maybe it was made during COVID. I'm not sure. Right? Possibly, it was filmed like it was a COVID type movie. If you've seen anything from Matrix onward, like you can see that. Oh, look, this was definitely filmed during COVID because they're like spacing themselves. But none of it's terrible. Now, this is not a movie I would see in a movie theater.
No, I would not.
Well, Independence Day Resurgence is a better made movie than this. But we're talking about the Asylum here. We're talking about trash.
We're talking about the people that made Sharknado.
This is at least trash that a raccoon would eat out of. Not trash that a raccoon would go, no, we're going to keep it. Okay. This is the type of trash can a family of raccoons would be in, eating, not the type of trash can where family raccoons would be dead in. Okay. Clearly, the guy who did this has made other Asylum movies, which include Dracula, Original Living Vampire, Apocalypse of Ice, End of the World, Avengers, Grimm, Time Wars. Ooh, that sounds fascinating. And so
I'm very much looking forward to the Avengers Grimm series.
So I'll say I'm not against. I would say this is a fine movie to watch.
Yeah.
There's definitely worse ones out there. There's definitely
money to see worse.
Yeah, Avatar: Last Airbender.
Or Avatar, the James Cameron movie.
No, that movie has the same type of mech. So
true.
Last Airbender. That movie, someone literally threatened my life at that movie. That
was my fault, though. That guy was threatening me. You just happened to be there.
Yes, but he was touching me. But on that note, this movie's fine. Definitely fine.
Yes.
Not against watching it. If you have to pick one of these ones, this is the one to watch. Don't watch any other ones. This is the one to watch. It has the worst Baldwin. Sorry.
Worst Baldwin.
Everything else, it's fine. But now that we've gone through the World of the Worlds movies, I think it's time we pick another one. Heaven help us if they pick like 1, 2, or 3, 5, or 6-headed shark, but we'll see. Ready?
All right. Wheel of Asylum, turn. Tell us the movie that we should burn. Blood Lake.
Oh my gosh.
Of the killer lampreys.
I don't even know what this is, but it's going to be glorious. Okay, that's what we're going to see next.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
Heaven help us. But on that note, War of the Worlds is done, at least for now. I don't think there's another one on here. Heaven help us if there is.
For real.
Well, it's tough for supporter now.
Thanks for tuning in. Bass, say bye.
And remember, William Baldwin is the worst Baldwin.
The worst.